All right, everybody, we are back. Results are ticking in here. You can see Femi won his previous round game and moves up into first place. Well, that's where he was. He keeps pace with Tega, but we are back with a matchup of the player in third needs no introduction, Wellington Jighere, against a player who is also pretty well known on the world stage, Karo. Austin, I'm really looking forward to this matchup.
Yeah, two of the best players in Nigeria, and yeah, there's going to be a lot of very good players. They pretty much know all the words anyway, so I'm expecting big things from this game.
So I think our players are seated and likely ready for the go ahead. I'm going to let the event staff know that we are ready. And this should be, as Austin said, a really good game. Let's hope. I always hope in games between players of this magnitude that you just get a nice even draw and let each of the players kind of work their magic, as opposed to what happens from time to time. Somebody draws all the good stuff, and at this level, these players are gonna, if you draw both blanks, all the good, tiles, S's, it's going to be impossible for the other player to keep pace. So, hoping for a good one here.
Definitely, yeah. Obviously the luck element is always there, but two evenly matched players, if they have share the spoils, it's going to be a great game.
What is your instinct on what is the number of games that two players would need to play to adequately determine who has played the best, I guess, in that series? Do you have a number in mind? I never really know the answer to that question.
I'm not really sure. I mean, if you really are trying to, over an extended period of time, I mean, you could say 100, but maybe that's not enough. Maybe 200 might be the answer. 250 or something like that. I think that would be a good. I think you'd have a good idea by that point for sure.
Oh, look at this.
Oh
This
yeah,
is
yeah.
very impressive play here of of fruitive through that V. So you could see this by far the best play. Only bingo available. This is an adjective, so I don't think either player is going to try to tack an S onto this. But Wellington striking first here with a very nice bingo. As you said, Austin, these players pretty much know all the words. Fruitive is not your everyday common, easy to find word, unless you've studied it before. So,
Yeah, and that's actually one of the two floaters that he needed to bingo apart from the R for Fruitier.
I think the CBB is potentially trolling me for a phony that I played at the Alchemist Cup, which is, yeah, very painful memory.
Still too
um,
soon.
yeah, it'll never be too soon. So, all right, the play's coming in really fast.
Ooh,
Eda plays Huia, setting up his S. That's
that's
an interesting choice.
keeping Alps.
Um, and Wellington instantly responds by playing Ow to sort of cripple that S hook a little bit, also scoring pretty well. I think amazingly, isn't it nice when wait,
He
he's
hasn't played
doing
it yet.
he's doing his thing. Yeah, he's thinking about it and he might elect to do something different. We'll find out. That spot right there where the W is sitting is a double word score, of course, so something there makes a good deal of sense. And he's elected to go with Ode. What do we think about that change there?
Interesting. Yeah, I mean the ED is a very strong combination. This is for an extra 6 points. I don't know. Maybe he's got in mind that maybe Etta has an S, and he just wants to completely take that out because he can still play a whole host of letters underneath OW. So maybe that's kind of what he's thinking here.
Yeah, another S for Etta, so I'm definitely expecting to see him cash that S setup. Something like outset, or maybe set out is safer. Um, but yeah, it's an interesting. I don't know that as you say, the ED combination is so tempting to keep because it is such a good bingo combo. But Wellington has proven himself to be much more concerned about playing defense and controlling the board. than worrying about maximizing his bingo chances every last play. So we'll see. I would expect to see some form because Etta has two S's. I really think he's going to cash it now.
Yeah, I think in the chat, unset was suggested in Huia's, which also sets up sunset. So that's a pretty nice play.
Oh, very clever. So the idea being suggested there of unset here. That's a cool S setup with that second S. I like that. Pretty aggressive, but probably warranted given that, two of the four S's are on your rack. That certainly decreases the chances that Wellington has one. And also the fact that he played Ode and didn't play the S hook there himself. Why would he play Ode if he had an S himself? The odds are much better that he would come up with a play in that same spot. So the odds are quite a bit better than average that Wellington doesn't have an S, and you can play something like unset, making a second consecutive S setup. Huia is and there's some debate about whether Huia was worth it. Is that S setup actually lucrative enough? And I'm sympathetic to that, but also there weren't really any good equity plays otherwise, right? Like his rack was so poor, leaving so many vowels that if ever there was a time to just have some fun, set something up. All right, here we go. What is he gonna play? He plays set out, which I think this is pretty standard to me.
Yeah.
The reason he doesn't have an S is specifically because Ow came down instantly. I guess. I mean, I feel like either Ow or Ode both says to me that he's pretty, eager to play there. Although it is a good equity play in its own right, it doesn't really say much. All right, so that's a fair point. Yeah, Canary now.
Keeping IE, it's not too bad.
Is this the rack that desperately needs a G? Yeah, it is. So that seems fine. Canary scoring quite well. Is there any way to play shorter with just the Y? What about Day?
Yeah.
That seems maybe worth it, but I don't really quibble with Canary too much either.
I think Canary's pretty good.
So score now is 67 points to Etta for 132 to Wellington. So early lead on the strength of Fruitive. Let's see. Talk around Gov, Cog, and Unset. There's no fear at this level that opponent will have an S. So those are very different plays, right? So Gov was early in the game. Opponent could easily have had an S. Cog was played knowing for a fact in that game, Oshavire Avanagua played that knowing he had the last S. So that's a different scenario when you are setting something up that only you can take advantage of. Unset here is something where you would do that knowing, oh, okay, and we're going to see Zonks. This makes sense to me. Interesting to put the S on the end of it. It tells Wellington not a lot, right? Because you've just played Huia earlier. The odds of you having an S on that play are quite good. And instantly, Pizzo comes down. You can't even, in blink of an eye, Wellington responding to that Z out in space by playing his best play. No need to waste any time. Very nicely done.
Yep, I think both of them are best players there. Nothing much to really talk about, I think. Zonk's very high scoring. Pizzo, again, gets rid of the tiles you don't want. So standard players, I think, right there.
Question of what do we like better between Zonk and Zonks? I definitely don't think I would have tacked the S on there for, I guess, the simple reason that I don't want to make it that obvious. Like, it's a little more likely than usual, but not completely obvious that you have an S after Huia's. And also just keeping the two S's, potentially when you don't bingo, you can wring a lot of value out of those S's to get better scores on future turns, right? The S on Zonks is only adding 2 more points on this turn, whereas on a subsequent turn, it could be doing way, way better than that. So let me get the scores updated. I don't know how you feel about that, Austin. The
Yeah. So like generally, I think keeping two S's is like the same value as like keeping one S. So any sort of extra points you can get for unduplicating your S's is generally good. But because you just played Zonk and you could hook the S on that afterwards, it might be worth more to keep that S because you got a free 17 points with the Zonk. So
yeah.
it might be in this situation potentially better to keep that S, but if you bingo, then you're going to leave that open anyway.
Yeah, I really think the number one thing I'm curious about, which I'll tell you in a moment when I get this information, is does shedding that second S actually help you bingo any more often? And I feel like it probably doesn't. You're like the only reason you would use that S is because you feel like ENS is potentially going to bingo more often. And the answer is actually the reverse. You actually bingo more often with Zonk holding both S's than you do by spending one. So to me, that says it all. All right, so we're going to see a bingo here for Wellington. Score of this game is not what's listed right now. Let me get back to it. Wellington's already ahead by 40 prior to his play, and he is picking up his bingo. And what is he gonna do? Yeah, he's gonna play Defist, an archaic spelling of whatever Dafist, however you would say that. So Dafist, this is a nice play. I think the reason this is the reason this is nice is that now on the resulting board after this, really only the O is a completely unobstructed eights line. All the other 8-letter words that you can play on this board are very specific. Whereas if he were to have played something here like infested, now you've got really good letters, including an E out in space towards the end of a word where it really likes to be. The E likes to be in that ending position, seventh position of an 8-letter word, so you can play ED, ER, all of that stuff. So this makes sense to me. I like it. Wellington is very good at this type of decision.
Yeah, singable is now playable through that N of guano.
Oh, that's true.
And also in the chat when we're talking, I think Janamoka's said about either playing infested or infected. You could also play infected as well.
Oh, that's right. Infested,
Yeah,
which
strange
is
word.
not a speech impediment or anything like that. That is an actual word. Okay, singable is the play here. Do you ever? I sometimes mix up whether this word singable. I know that one of the. I guess you wouldn't mix this up because I know one of the two is Collins and one of the two is not. I think signable is Collins, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, yeah. Okay, Jello Mochas is saying that there. I think that's one of the most plausible Collins only words I've ever seen. Signable. But whatever, we don't have to worry about that here. We're playing Collins, so everything is valid that we've just discussed. And Edda closing the gap just a little bit, but he's still pretty far in arrears in this game.
Yeah.
What's Welly gonna do here with his scoring tiles?
So I think the most standard play probably is to play in the bottom right corner here, maybe playing Hugh. Not really seeing much else to be honest. And that would leave a pretty good leave, I guess.
Yeah, just
EIN and yeah,
well,
probably something like that.
the two. Yeah, I mean the leave is quite good except for the duplicated ends, but
Yeah.
even then, you're still gonna bingo a fair amount of the time with that leave. So I do like just playing down in the corner. I don't think there's any need to reinvent the wheel here. Another nice thing about Hugh, I guess, if you were thinking really positionally, is that it gives Wellington the opportunity to place a letter down in this corner that's very, very difficult to hit bingos to. So if you don't play there, you could let Etta play something there that puts a good letter like a D or an R in this spot, which then becomes a problem for you going forward. So
Definitely.
Hugh makes some sense. And Etta has a weird rack here.
They do.
Varpool.
Um, have maybe.
Oh, yeah, Pav, that might be what he's getting set to do. Um, you You could also put your R there. So another idea would be potentially to play Arvo
Oh,
in this spot, but Pav scores a little bit better. So these plays are really close in valuation. Edda just staring at his P for now. No pun intended. No
try
entendre
not to laugh.
intended. Yeah, we need to get our mind out of the. Oh, what the hell is this? Is this some kind of spam? 3, 2, 1 Husyak.
Yeah, so
How do I bop this? Hold on, it's not letting me. We'll bop you.
there we go.
Sorry if that's a real person. I don't think it is. No worries. Yeah, I got it. Oh no, the board. Let me try and refresh it. In the meantime, I'll just put this up so we can see. The board cam also has the rack timers too. I'm gonna refresh now. Hopefully we get it back. It's been really good today. No outages pretty much the entire day, which fingers crossed that we keep the good times going there. But it looks like I'm gonna guess that Etta played Pav
Yeah, I
and
think so.
that play has moved along to Wellington, but we don't know that for sure.
There's some really cool bingos with Etta's rack through the eye of Deafest. If anyone can see it. They're
Oh
both very
wow.
stunning to each other.
Oh my gosh. I see it now. Yeah. And one of the blanks a very unique designation if he were to see that. All right, I've let everybody know that we did lose our board, and I wonder if it's going to require once it comes back, it might require a little bit of setup on our end, but the players are just going to press on. I don't think we want to mess with them too much. Okay, word from the scene is that we're working on it to get the board camera back up and running.
Okay.
So let's say Pav was the play for Edda, and play would move over to Wellington holding this rack. What might he do? There's almost nothing that is exciting to score with here. Something like fun doesn't feel like a very good play. We all love to have fun, but this looks
Not a very fun one.
kind of a weak, yeah, it's kind of a weak play. Yes, good job to you guys in the chat. You guys have spotted it. Gillaroo, be pretty amazing to see Etta play that. I bet he knows that. Do we
Yeah, I'm sure he
think?
does. Certainly does.
Yeah. So,
What about Gun on Guan?
oh man, nice. So the game situation is actually not that crazy to play this. There's not. So what are the hooks to that? S and G? Is that it?
Well, the K, but it's also out already.
K is out. Yeah.
Oh,
So
the S is not out.
gun is actually kind of fun. This has some merit to it. In fact, that would be
So,
pretty amazing.
so one G and one blank unseen that could go there. I think that's
Yeah,
it.
that's it. And honestly, if your opponent has the blank, well, okay, if the scores were reversed,
Yeah,
then maybe.
it'd be
So
good.
let's give Etta his points for Pav first of all to give a better understanding of what we're looking at here. So with the scores were reversed, now I like gun much better to set up something pretty nasty that your opponent can't do much about. So the guns play. Whoop, let's see if I can draw it in the correct spot. Hold on.
Everything aligns well.
Yeah, it's because I keep moving my Quackle window. All right, there we go. Guns. I can color in the lines if I need to. So a play like that is just really heavy scoring in this situation. So hold on, let's see.
Hmm.
So still working on the board cams, of course. We will get them as soon as possible. What's going on here?
I'm wondering, like, even if there's some kind of parallel play down from Defist, that might actually end up blocking almost all the bingo lanes possible on this board. I mean, you only have the C left in Canary. That might be something that he's considering also, just looking at how blocked this board is right now. Um, and he's 50 ahead. He might be looking to try and close down the board a little bit
Mm.
at this stage and let Etta kind of make him do some work in terms of opening the board up and creating a chance for himself, whilst he potentially can benefit from it with a bingo as well.
Mm.
But
It's
that's really what
true.
I'm thinking right now. I mean, I'm not seeing anything else really as well.
Yeah. If Lukeman, feel free also if you're not getting the board cam working, just let me know the moves that are being made, and we can still follow along. Just let us know what moves the players have played. All right, so we have a couple moves. Oh, all right, we might have a new board shot coming. Hold on, I'm gonna try to fix this. Um, all
So
right,
another
let's give
option I'm
this a
thinking
go.
also is with the AW in Buyers and Ode, maybe putting the N there or the C there. If he wants to potentially do something on that side, it looks like he's playing a move. Can't really see what it is yet.
Um, Okay, so we're getting the board cam back in place. I guess the only question is we'll see if the orientation of the board makes it very difficult to see what's going on. Let's see. So it's going to be, yeah, it's going to be getting placed back, and I guess we'll just, here, hold on. I have to rotate this counterclockwise and then reset it a little bit. So it's not 100% in the right spot. Um, but that's okay. We can see enough to see that, let's see, plays that were made.
I don't think anything's been played since Pav.
Oh, have they paused? Maybe they paused to let us get our bearings again. So we'll see. I think we're gonna have to go without timers for this game. It takes too long to set up. So that's something we'll strive for next game. But yeah, this does look like the game is pretty much in stasis until we're able to get back to it. And Corollas is going to be the play. I guess what I'm wondering is what did Wellington do on his previous play? Did he exchange? I don't see his play on the board, so maybe he exchanged. Um,
Explain that, yeah, because there's really no place to score any points, so maybe he's waiting for Etta to open up something for him.
True. So highest scoring play on the Corolla's turn. Corolla scores 61. Gilaroo, as was pointed out, scores 67 from the G of Guano and 64 with a blank G. And also you could make it a J if you're really ambitious and wanting to do something fun. Instead, Corolla's is the play. And in Q's is Wellington's response. That's the only play that reaches the triple as a 6-letter word from his rack. I think that's warranted here on his part to stay just enough ahead. But Etta, depending on Etta's draw, he can retake the lead here if he draws something really high scoring or potentially a bingo. It's not that easy to play a bingo here, though, Austin.
Yeah, exactly. The board is now pretty much blocked. We're just seeing in the chat now that Lukeman said that Wellington actually played a phony. He played Uncino,
Oh my god.
where Nuncio is the real word out of those 6 tiles. So that's probably why he was looking a little bit downtrodden after that, and with the bingo coming down.
Where
And the game is now pretty much even.
where did he play
Must have played
Uncino
on
to
the O
the
of Guano,
to
I
the
think.
O? Oh my gosh.
I think
Okay.
he has to try to do that, I think.
Wow. Okay, that's very surprising. But nevertheless, Wellington appears to be. Oh, wait a second. Wellington appears to be ahead for now. Oh man, I thought maybe there was a like ring bird or something would be playable through the eye, but that's not a word, unfortunately. So he must have misplayed because he didn't even go to the computer to check his word. Wow, that says a lot, right?
Yeah.
At least you would go look if you had any doubt. Okay, I don't really know where the timers are. I'm gonna work to get those here. Let's see if I can find them. Um, they're in a different.
Is Wellington's turn? Is it at his turn right now?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Just trying to figure out where they are.
Hmm.
There we go. Here's one.
You're gonna play here.
All right, yeah, it's
Yeah.
gonna have to wait. I think to next turn, next game, I should say.
Pretty good play. Info in the
Be
chat.
Gird. Hey, that's a play. That's a play I remember from your history, Austin. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Is it Begirdle
That's
or something
right.
like
When you extended Be Gird on the board during the Scrabble Go Tournament of Champions to Be Girdled
that?
on the triple when we were all just in awe watching that. That was such a great play. I still remember that because I wasn't thinking about it at all, and you just stunned us all. Okay,
Yeah.
Wellington plays his Q and he undoubles his ends by playing Chin right there. That makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
He remains 20 points ahead.
Looks like in the clock, we got Lukeman in the chat saying that Etta has about 12 minutes left. Wellington has 13 minutes, so both use about half their
Gotcha.
time. And Etta
Um,
has no vowels now.
oh
But he
man,
got the X play
he
on Hunger.
did. Yeah, he
How that?
does. He does have some X options too. He could play Dexy in that
Dexy, yeah.
spot for a huge
Yes.
score.
For
Wow.
one,
That's going to be big. 47 points for him. That's going to be kind of a handful for Wellington to deal with, in
definitely.
fact. All right, let's see if I can get this. What would Wellington even do? So there are 12 tiles unseen to Etta. So 5 in the bag at this point in time. So Dexy is kind of a nice idea for him here. Just trying to get this
Yeah.
here.
We were also, I think even what you were saying near the start of the game, that a lot of the vowels were played at the beginning of the game
Mm.
with Fruitive, Huias, Hovia, all those kind of moves. And you can see now that there's now kind of a dearth of vowels that on both players' racks right now. So it'd be interesting to see how many vowels are actually left um, unseen to us or what's in the bag.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if we can wrangle the time. I just don't know where they even are. You can see this frigging board going behind there. All right, I can't do this right now. The board camera is in a different orientation as it was, so at least we can know whose turn it is because I got the one camera right. All right, Dexy was the play, 47 points. That's going to be a huge score given the status of the board here. It vaults Etta into the lead by quite a nice margin. And I will get the tracking from Wellington's POV right now. So, unfortunately, Wellington is an upside down. Oh, never mind. He's playing. What's he going to play? Just Mel. Just Mel. And is this going to be the classic Wellington pickup? Um, the idea for this is that the J is unplayed. That's why he's blocking that O. He doesn't want to
Yeah.
get hit with the J. Let me just see if what happens.
Yeah, Etta
I
has it
go
too.
to this screen, so the board. We're gonna rotate this way. So the reason that he's done this is because the J is unseen. You see it in the unseen tiles under the analysis board, um, and that's his reasoning. That being said, I don't know if he has great hopes in the end game to do very much, leaving NIRL. Is this a scenario where maybe he needs to leave that J spot open and try to draw it himself?
Yeah, I think he's far enough behind where he cannot really score that many points on the next move. So he might need to just hope for the J. There's only two letters left in the bag, and we know that Etta just scored a lot of points. So he's 27 behind. He's probably going to need that J to win this game.
Let's see what happens if I do this.
Yeah, I'm not really quite sure what else he can do. In terms of scoring, he's not going to be ahead after this move, that's for sure. But ideally really needs to play a word that doesn't really burn both of his vowels, or preferably keeping both of them. But there's really no way of doing that. He could also play Monk as well, Monk, through that
Mm,
roller.
true.
It's also an option. Again, kind of emptying the bag. So that's also there. I mean, he could also play, I don't know, if he wants to play something else like Orb and Aura to get rid of that, maybe spike something in the end game, um, potentially. But again, doesn't score very much. But yeah, there's not really that many options. And I don't see any sort of like setup plays either, available. So it's quite hard to really get out of this.
Yeah,
There's
this
also
does look
the
grim.
Yeah, there's also a spot in between Zonks and Fruitive with S blank I. You can put the R there. Maybe like something like Reno would might be an option if he wants to get some points and keep that spot of Corolla open. But yeah, there's really nothing that I can see that scores like 20 points plus and really keeps any sort of good hope for the end game. You can also play like something like Mer or Rim, parallel to InQs. That's also an option, but nothing great here, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, I don't know. This, as you say, this feels rough.
Yeah.
I don't even see just what the type of follow up play that you need in order to keep pace. All right, so it looks like Wellington is revisiting this Mel play and just maybe he has an idea for one or two bingos that he could draw through the D that he's located in the unseen pool. Um,
But are there enough tiles in the pool?
not to bing. So there's only two. There's only two in
Uh,
the bag, so you can't bingo with Mel. That's a good point.
yeah.
So you can only plan for the end game with a play like that. Oof, tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it actually didn't occur to me. So in Q's, it makes extra sense if we go all the way back to that play. In Q's makes extra sense because Wellington really was trying to burn through as many tiles as possible to get his hands on that X. But Eda got there first. It was the big tile in this game was that X. Okay,
There you go.
now the play Austin suggested moments ago of Rim, he might be picking it up and
Yeah.
playing Mirror. This seems as good as anything. Again, I don't feel like the upside after these plays is very high. I think the choice that he's making here is to try to draw the J for himself and to set up an annoying situation where if Wellington does draw the J, maybe he forces Eda to play in a spot he doesn't want to play in. But Eda's just going to play Jam or something like that and finish this one off pretty quickly, I think.
Yeah, so I think Wellington's thinking that he can play ERN parallel to Mer as well, and that's ready made for him, just as another move that can score another 20 points because he's gonna need a boatload of points, even if he if we're not even talking about the J, there's opportunities on the board with what he has. There's pretty much nothing, and the 27-point lead here is actually quite a lot, just based on what we can see right now. So actually playing Mir or MIR right there actually isn't too bad. But the problem is with plays like Mel, if he picks out another N or an R that we can see that Eto already has, he's basically instantly lost. Like you're gonna have too many duplicate tiles and you can't win. So he's gonna try and unduplicate that R. I think it's gonna be important because another weird consonant that he might pick up, he's basically lost straight away.
Yeah, all of which to say, that we're trying to place ourselves in Wellington's shoes in his mind right now and come up with something, anything that he might do, and we're really struggling to come up with that. This is not a good situation for him. So no surprise to see him place a bunch of different letters on the board, a bunch of different words on the board, and sort of try to his best to evaluate them. But um, yeah, it doesn't feel very encouraging. Eda is looking at him like, "Come on, what are you gonna do? Play those, play those things, and let me bomb my J." But we'll see. Um, Something like Rim and hope to draw JE. Oh, Gentler. That's intriguing. So, yeah, the bag consists of ET. So
Hmm.
playing Playing mirror or something like that at least gives you an outplay, I suppose. Leaving, yeah, LNR. So if you draw ET, you have gentler as an out. So what happens there? Let's imagine this. So let's say Wellington eventually settles on mirror
Oh, he's going
and
for Mel. He's put it down
he
again.
is going for Mel. Okay, let's see. And
Yeah,
that's it.
worry about that J.
That's it. He's decided to block the J. He's trying to win games where opponent has the J, which I don't know if that's that easy to do, but he's going to go for it. So his final rack is going to be EINRRT, Triner, whatever, not a word, but that's okay. And I think this should be pretty doable for Edda if he wants to win this, because yeah, he's gonna play Jam. And the nice thing about Jam is that there are no more vowels that fit alongside the J. You can play this with impunity. Wellington can't do much about it. So this looks like a pretty clear-cut win. Edda is going to go up a ton after he makes this play. It's going to be, I assume he's going to go through with making it, and the score will be 402 to 364 when that happens. That's way too much.
Yeah, and Etta does have outplays as well. So enter through the E of Doofist and Incuse and Drent as well from the D of Be Good. So plenty of outplays here. It's a winning play. As simple as that.
CBB suggests that Edda play Edda, leaving JMNR, which perhaps not strategically the best play, but definitely emotionally a very powerful play when you play your own name against your opponent. My name is a valid word. Austin, do you know, is this something where, like, as a player with a 6-letter first name, do you know, like, all the 7-letter words you can make with Austin blank, like, right off the top of your head? Or have you...
Honestly, no.
No, you've never cared about that?
No.
Oh.
I probably should, but they're all pretty high probability, so
I
guess
don't...
I would have covered that
Yes.
pretty early in my study, no matter what.
I would
Anyway.
not expect you to miss any of those words for sure. My wife, Allison, who is not a Scrabble player, I've taught her all of the 8-letter words that you can make from Allison plus blank, and she can rattle them off at any time.
Wow.
Unfortunately, there are many other racks that you can draw in Scrabble other than that, so she's not about to join our ranks anytime soon, at least as a player. So maybe as a director.
Although there was one story that I must tell in Reno, whenever the Nationals was back then, not the one just gone, but the one before that. Joel Sherman, I've only had one interaction with Joel Sherman, and he literally just came up to me out of nowhere and then just said to me, "What is Ostinio plus a blank?" And I came up with the answer in like 2 seconds, and he goes, "Very good," and he just walks back. I'm like, like, okay.
That's insane. I just looked that up, and I would never know that word. I guess, yeah, that's amazing. Yes, Jello Mochas, that you have it right. There's a word there. Oh my God, he's got it.
Yeah, I didn't know the word at the time. I just kind of guessed at it, and then I was like, "Oh,
Oh my
okay.
gosh,
I guess I got it right."
that's amazing.
Passed the test.
That's very impressive. So hold on a sec. What happened here? What was Edda's? Edda played Jam.
Rident.
Wellington played Rident. And it's back to Edda's turn holding Rent, which he can play with Trident if he wants now for a few more points.
True, yeah.
So, yep. So either way, Wellington is going to drop this game, an important game for both players. Some of the standings, which we can. Oh, it's gonna look weird, I think, because the board shot is not the same. Hold on, I can fix this shortly. But I'll show the standings in just a moment while we finish up this game. So, all right, replacing us with the standings there for a moment. You can see Femi in sole possession of first going into this round. Tega, we've watched a few times. Looks like Oh, it looks like some of these round 19 records are final. Like Emmanuel Umujose at 12-7, that's 19 games worth of play, whereas we don't have all of our round 19 matchups in yet. But this is a critical win for Karo, who's actually finds himself in 11th place currently in the standings, and Wellington is going to drop from 5th to a little bit lower. Um, there was a there was King of the Hill starts from round 20.
Ooh.
Wow. Okay, so we are headed into round 20 shortly, so that means we're going to get some pretty epic matchups coming up between some of the top players here in this top group. So Femi, we might be seeing Femi for the first time. In fact, we have not watched Femi play on the stream yet, and what a time to dig in with Femi, who's representing the UK, and Austin, former UK national champion and current US national champion, to help with his extensive Femi experience, right, Austin? uh,
Yeah, and he also played in both of the big tournaments in the US this summer. So he's definitely coming off the back of a lot of games this summer, and looks like it's paying off. He's right at the top of the list.
in a pretty rough field of strong players. So, all right, we're seeing more results coming in. I think that might have been the game we just watched getting entered in as Wellington drops a bit and Edda pops up into the top group. Still more results to come here, but we have almost made it to the finish line. We're going to take a quick break. We'll see if Austin's able to join us for round 20. Hopefully so, but understandable if not. And we'll let the rest of these games finish up and be back with coverage of round 20 very soon.